Getting into alcohol and artificial sweeteners, alcohol properties, alcohol metabolism, alcohol and toxicity, genetics and alcoholism, artificial sweeteners and insulin, artificial sweeteners and weight loss, artificial sweeteners and cancer, and we're going to talk about artificial sweeteners and the microbiome. The chemical name for alcohol is ethanol, so CH3CH2OH. The body processes and eliminates ethanol in separate steps and preferentially. So it means it's going to eliminate ethanol before it digests and absorbs other macronutrients. Alcohol has irritant properties and high concentrations, which can cause superficial erosions, hemorrhages, and paralysis of the stomach smooth muscle. Peak blood alcohol levels are higher if ethanol is ingested as a single dose rather than several doses, say, throughout time or throughout the day. In general, there is little difference in the rate of absorption of the same dose of alcohol administered in the form of different alcoholic beverages. So, for example, whiskey isn't going to be processed any different than, say, vodka or tequila in the body. It's really the total amount of ethanol that matters. The blood alcohol concentration is determined by the amount of alcohol consumed, by the presence or absence of food in the stomach, and factors which affect gastric emptying and the rate of alcohol oxidation. Enzymes, which help us break down all of our macronutrients, help break down ethanol molecule into other compounds or metabolites, which we can then process more easily, or the body can then process these more easily. Some of these intermediate metabolites can have harmful effects on the body. So most of the ethanol in the body is broken down in the liver by an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. This transfers ethanol into a toxic compound called acetaldehyde. This is known as a carcinogen. Now, acetaldehyde is generally short-lived and is quickly broken down to a less toxic compound called acetate. So we don't have to necessarily worry about acute alcohol poisoning, so to speak, because our body does have mechanisms in place to deal with the acetaldehyde. However, it is something to be aware of. Acetate is then broken down to carbon dioxide and water, mainly in tissues other than the liver. The body can metabolize a certain amount of alcohol every hour. The amount varies widely among individuals and depends on a range of factors, including liver size and body mass. So alcohol and toxicity, acetaldehyde is short-lived, usually existing in the body for a brief period of time. It's then broken down into acetate, as we previously mentioned. However, a lot of this is done particularly evident in the liver. So that's where the bulk of alcohol metabolism is going to take place, is in the liver. Some researchers believe that acetaldehyde may be responsible for some of the behavior and physiological effects that we typically put on alcohol consumption, such as incoordination, memory impairment, and sleepiness. So genetics and alcoholism, if we take a deeper dive into this, the type of ADH and ALDH, these are enzymes that break down ethanol, an individual carries has been shown to influence how much he or she drinks, which can then in turn influence his or her risk for developing alcoholism. So for example, high levels of acetaldehyde make drinking unpleasant, resulting in facial flushing, nausea, and rapid heart rate. People who carry gene varieties for fast ADH and slow ALDH, which delay the processing of acetaldehyde in the body, may tend to drink less and are thus somewhat more protected from alcohol. So for example, they're just not getting the positive, quote unquote, feel good effects of the alcohol. They're getting more of a nauseous effect because of these enzymes. One thing that is important to realize is you may have clients, and we've seen many clients over the years who appeared on the outside very physically healthy. However, they were very high binge drinkers, and we found that they were developing alcoholic liver disease or fatty liver disease, even though they fit the alcohol into their macronutrient distribution and did not have excess body fat storage. As a matter of fact, many of them were very, very lean. So The liver is the chief organism responsible for the breakdown of alcohol. The liver is also particularly vulnerable to alcohol's metabolism effect. So more than 90% of people who drink heavily develop fatty liver. That's a very high percent. Now, only 20% will go on to develop more severe alcoholic liver disease and liver cirrhosis. But it is important that we monitor the binge drinking, even if we're staying in a caloric balance necessarily for our clients. And of course, we would never recommend a client drink alcohol for any of the purported positive effects. So for example, you might see an article that talks about wine having a high degree of polyprophenols in it. We would not recommend that a non-drinking client start drinking for that effect.